promise I'll get better lighting as I go on. Hey everyone, it's Helen. Things are a bit different since the last time I've seen you guys. Well, for starters, I crossed an entire ocean and I'm now living in England. I've been here for about a week. I really do like it, mostly because I have my own room. I got to walk around York quite a bit. I got to see some really cool ancient buildings and walls and castles and all that fun stuff. Today's video isn't really going to be centered on any of this. This is going to center on an issue that I've kind of taken up in the past year or so. As many of you already know, and you probably should if you've been watching me for a while because I plug it every single video, I run an animation site called DDP etc. I love animation, I love animated films, I love getting excited to see all of them. This weekend in particular sees the release of Kung Fu Panda 3, which I am unfortunately unable to see until March. Instead of reviewing it for you guys on DDP etc. like I planned, I am going to talk about DreamWorks a little bit. If you aren't very familiar with animation, there are probably 3 studios that you know of: Disney, DreamWorks, and Pixar. Those have been the 3 major players. Now, I love Disney movies as much as the next person. I grew up on them. I watched Cinderella, Little Mermaid, Pooh's Grand Adventure, Atlantis: The Lost Empire. Those are still some of my favorite movies. I try to look at all animation as much as I can as an art form, as opposed to, you know, this studio and this studio and this studio. But of those 3, I would say I'm much more Team DreamWorks than I have been in the past. And that's a very unpopular opinion for a lot of people, especially on the internet. Again, I love Disney as much as the next person. I am grateful for what they've done in the animation industry, but right now I'm kind of Team DreamWorks. Today I just want to talk a little bit about why that is. DreamWorks, for being a relatively young company, I mean, comparatively it's been around 60 years less than the Disney studio, but in that amount of time they've become the 2nd biggest animation studio in the world, or in the US at least. And that's saying a lot, really, honestly, because I mean it takes a lot to go up against a studio that has been around for so long and to make content that is just as good, if not a bit better. My main reason that I am more Team DreamWorks at the moment is if you look at their film output in the last 20 years compared to the output that Disney has, DreamWorks has been a lot more experimental in the content that they create. That's not to say that Disney doesn't take some risks as well, but they've had their periods of experimentation and they haven't been as successful as when they sort of stuck to their formula. The hero always wins in the end, there's going to be some magical conclusion, the princess gets the prince, all that. DreamWorks movies, for better or worse, don't really stick to a specific formula. They're very, very experimental. It brought us an amazing musical in The Prince of Egypt. They brought us Shrek with the irreverent humor. They've brought us a lot of pop culture oriented stuff in the mid-2000s, and then more recently they've put out things like Kung Fu Panda, How to Train Your Dragon, Rise of the Guardian, and they just have such a variety of different content. None of these franchises looks like the other, and that's what I love. Do they have flops? Yes, they do. I'm not gonna deny it. I'm not afraid to call out my favorite studio, because you know what? No studio is perfect. Disney, they have Chicken Little on their hands, okay? That's enough said. I just feel like DreamWorks is more open to going different directions with the content that they create and creating more original stories. They're not really based off of fairy tale type things. Even if it's a stupid concept, they had the guts to go and make it. And honestly, in animation, that's a very, very hard thing to do. These films are not cheap to make. I mean, nowadays, they cost in like the hundreds of millions to do. In this day and age, like, you have to more than break even at the box office. You have to be able to make your money back. Knowing those standards, I think that DreamWorks has done a really good job of telling stories that appeal to kids and adults. And Shrek was really the first time, like, this is like that was like the anti-Disney movie, I would say. I mean, it was a fairy tale, the guy still got the girl in the end. It was a very different way of doing it. They had crude humor in it, and I mean, I rewatched Shrek the other day, and I'm like, I can't believe I watched this when I was 5. All of this flew over my head. And then you have a story like dragons. I'm always gonna come back to dragons, you guys know I will. I mean, come on guys. Other than the dragons, no magic. Your main protagonist loses his foot. In the second movie, kill off a character. In addition to aging other characters up and just taking so many risks, how many films can you think of in animation that do this? They have the guts to do it. I applaud them. I think that's one of the reasons why I'm honestly firmly on their side. I guess that kind of rolls into the animation style a little bit. Disney has a very distinct animation style. I think you've all noticed it. There's been huge controversy about how all of their female characters look the same. DreamWorks has done a great job of creating franchises that not only tell very different stories from one another, but also look a lot different than each other. It's hard to fathom that the same studio that put out Shrek put out something like Madagascar, or something like How to Train Your Dragon, or the upcoming Trolls. Like I said, I'm not afraid to call out my favorite studio if I think there's a problem. And they're just so detailed. I mean, not just dragons. I could go on for days about the detail in dragons, but in Rise of the Guardians, in Cruise, in Shrek, I mean, gosh, goodness. Those effects were done 15 years ago on a $60 million budget, and they still hold up. I feel like they treat women overall better. I mean, their two feature animation studio heads are women. All of their female characters look so different from each other. They were the first animation studio to give the director's chair to one woman, and that was Kung Fu Panda 2, Jennifer Yu Nelson. And that was fantastic! I haven't touched on Pixar much yet, but I will say, in terms of originality, DreamWorks has some original films on the plate, but Pixar only has one original film on the plate so far up until 2019, which is kind of sad because Pixar did do all these original concepts for a while, and they are capable of doing things like Inside Out. Those are such original concepts and they work so well, and now they're kind of a sequel factory. I hate to say it, but they kind of are. But yeah, that's my 2 cents on how Pixar fits into all of this, and I think a lot of that is due to the fact that they are owned by Disney now, so there's that. I feel like DreamWorks gets a lot of crap because, you know, they have their share of hits and misses, and they're kind of in a financial bind at the moment. I honestly have better hopes for them going into the future. That's all I have to say on my preference for DreamWorks over Disney and Pixar. You can feel free to disagree with me in the comments. I would love to have a debate about it. I think that there's perfectly valid arguments for Disney as well. Again, I'm living in England now. I don't know if I'll post a lot about it on this channel. I do have a Tumblr tag set up though. If you go to my Tumblr page, I will tag everything Helen Goes to England. I will try to keep you updated on my travels there as much as I can. You can subscribe here on my main channel for new videos every other Sunday, and you can follow my second channel. I might post a few England vlogs, don't hold me to that. You can also follow me on Twitter, Instagram, Spotify, Tumblr again, of course. You can follow me on DDP, etc., my animation site, as I said previously. I reviewed the Trolls trailer, the Kubo and the Two Strings trailer, which I'm really excited to see. I've also reviewed the Secret Life of Pets trailer, so lots of new content coming up. Thanks for watching, and I love you guys, and remember to keep living awesome lives. See you soon. Bye.